this Chaz? Chase?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out whether I should wait for you to call or should I just go ahead on and call you.
You're completely fine. We got here in the end. That's all that matters.
Okay. Well, I guess I sent you the memorandum, and we've contacted the Center for Community Engagement and let them know about our objection to the merger of the standalone Center for Black Culture with the LBGTQ Center. We hadn't got a response from them, but the reasons for our objection is largely related to the state's ingrained race-based disparities in education, housing, healthcare. That they've been ingrained for the last 50 years. So I think it would be atrocious at this time to shut down the Center for Black Culture when these disparities have been left unaddressed. The Inequalities Report came out in 2010 and in 2020. And in that in the decade between 2010 and 2020, the disparities increased. A person that I'm in contact with in Charleston that pays specific attention to that is Reverend Matthew Watts. He has the state's demographics in terms of the Black community. Here in this area, the only thing that we really have is the Center for Black Culture in terms of Center for Black Culture and Research in terms of gathering the demographics that will give us an indication of the quality of life in which we live here in this area. So I want to get some feedback from you, any questions that you might have in reference to this merger. And going on campus, I did come in contact with a few students that they weren't pleased with it, but they didn't know how to voice their objection. Okay, this is a new generation of student population. The generation previous to it that helped set up the Center for Black Culture was more active, and they demanded that culture be set up so that they would have a safe space on campus. And I'm discouraged over the fact, or disappointed over the fact, that WVU would let that go and merger with the LBGTQ Center. And I think they need to have an open public discussion on it, and they hadn't done any of that. They just went on ahead and did, for what I understand.
Absolutely. I feel like this really took us all from the blind side, I feel like, because that's two centers and communities that I feel like historically and currently really need separate involvement, because both of them do need involvement, so it's so strange to me and a lot of other people that they would join those two ideas under one umbrella. And I really, in your own words, I would love for you to tell me how a culture for Black history, Black culture at WVU really affects a student positively while they're attending WVU, and how that could change for them if that's kind of taken away from them and takes a new shape like they're planning on doing.
Well, WVU is a predominantly white campus. And that's not just WVU, but there are other campuses that are predominantly white, such as Pitt. For the Black student to have a safe space on campus that helps counsel and cultures them, because oftentimes the Black student is going to run into racial situations on campus, and he or she has to be coached properly on how to deal with it. And see, that's one thing that the Center for Black Culture can do, or has been doing. You move them both into the same space, I think you get rid of the positive affirmation that you can get from the Center for Black Culture just by it being a Center for Black Culture. Now, I can't really speak to LBGTQism. LBGTQism, as far as I'm concerned, that comes after. They end up getting a grip, as far as I'm concerned, with WVU. Apparently during the Biden administration, I think the LBGTQ Center was set up in, I think in 2020, and it actually comes in through DEI, excuse me. Now, the Center for Black Cultures, having been set up in 1990, in my view, and I spoke to David Freisen about it, it predates DEI, and to take DEI and reach and try and grab the Center for Black Culture, I think is clearly an overreach and should be litigated by an attorney that is not afraid to stand up.
I agree, absolutely. And do you think this is, given the current socioeconomic state of, not just West Virginia, but America at large, did you ever foresee this happening so close to home in WVU of all places? And do you think that these external factors have anything to do with the pressures of WVU merging these two groups together?
Well, the times are kind of tough. I think David Freisen, quote him again, he's disappointed at WVU, and from what he said in his article, he's also blaming the Trump and Morrissey administration for the dismantling of DEI. And he's still fighting for DEI. I and others with me, we're fighting for the Center for Black Culture. Okay, DEI, as I understand, was more dealing with bureaucratic policies, the kind of things that go on at campus administratively, trying to create an environment where the faculties and the students can be amongst each other. That's a non-hostile environment. Okay, so now, did I foresee this coming? I have to tell you that the assistant director, the former assistant director at WVU Center for Black Culture, was Todd McFadden. He told me some time ago that if WVU takes the Center for Black Culture, if it removes it, John, you take it and keep it going. I have a background, and I've been studying Black history, African history, Afrocentric literature for like the last 30, 35 years. I have the books and the literature connected with it. And so I push people to develop their own home libraries and to study, because you can get online now and go to YouTube. If you know the scholars, you can go and check out their videos on YouTube now. It used to be a time in the 90s where in order to get some of this literature, you had to go to Black summer cultural events. And I used to go to all those Black summer cultural events in the area. Juneteenth, I'm born in Fairmont, but I also grew up in Mercer County, Pennsylvania, and I worked in Pittsburgh. So we would hit the Black summer cultural events every year, and we also kept our own libraries. And these are some of the things that we're going to encourage Black students to do. They're going to have to do their own study. But we also send a message to WVU: don't get rid of the Center for Black Culture. And if you do get rid of it, set up a museum, because that's something that WVU West Virginia should have done some time ago and hasn't. So see, for real, WVU West Virginia really hasn't fulfilled its promise to Black people, okay? And we have to serve notice that we're in a situation where the disparities are there. We've served notice of that, and that attention needs to be placed on the Black people's needs before you spend money on a new stadium, on other things that you might spend money on. So I hope I've answered your question. I kind of went on a little bit, but I hope I've answered your question in terms of...
I always tell people, the more you ramble, the easier my job is. That's just more quotes for me, so by all means. But yeah, what kind of message do you think WVU would be sending to, not only current students, but future students, employers, everything? What kind of message does it send if they dismantle these two fantastic organizations? I hate to sound biased, but I know it's not really my job, but to dismantle these two long-standing, beneficial communities for their students.
Well, Again, I would have to say that the Center for Black Culture goes back to 1990, but the LBGTQ Center does not go back that far. And I think I'm standing for the Center for Black Culture. I'm not standing for DEI. I'm not standing for LBGTQ Center. You have to call somebody that's associated with the LBGTQ Center and have them speak for that.
Oh,
Okay.
of course, absolutely.
But I would say that to me, it's mean-spirited, and it says that you really don't matter. We're going to do what we want to do. Some of this comes after George Floyd. Okay, I think this is a retaliation for what was seen during George Floyd. But you remember George Floyd was, he was killed by a police officer that put his knee on his neck, and the I don't know if I would call it a backlash, or I would call it just a righteous protest to the injustice of what happened to George Floyd. Okay, so with George Floyd, we had young people stand up, and basically in some of them areas they took over small cities. Okay, in protesting with George Floyd. So I think this is a mean-spirited retaliation for the righteous activism that occurred during the George Floyd. Okay, so I think the students at WVU are right in standing up, serving proper notice on the record that they object to this. I'm talking about the black students. Okay, since I will say this, since the re-election of Donald Trump, the LGBTQ community isn't quite as vocal as they were up under the Biden administration. Okay, but so I don't know if anyone's noticed that, but I've noticed that they're not quite as vocal as they were up under the Biden administration. Okay.
Definitely, I feel like vocal is kind of what everybody needs right now. And speaking of being vocal, what do you think the students of WVU or even beyond, just the residents of Morgantown, what would you like to see them do to voice their opinion that this center should stay open and should continue operations?
I think they should petition and consistently organize and put together a petition and even litigate it where necessary. But do the petition first and push WVU to keep the Center for Black Culture and Research and actually fund it where it actually lobbies for us the way it was supposed to. The Center for Black Culture and Research, even before DEI came in, it was monies were being taken away from it. Programs were being cut. So it was to say, so I could look at it and see that they set it up in 1990, ultimately to give you something, and then take it back whenever the opportunity arose. And up under the Morrissey and Trump administration, it's an opportunity to take back something that was set up to create an equitable environment. So we're not going to deal with equity. We're just going to go ahead on and run this game plan that we had. With the Trump administration, from what I understand, I'm going to say this right. From what I understand with the Trump administration, they are removing centers for black culture all throughout the nation. It's not just WVU. And let me say this. If it had just been DEI, I would have remained quiet. But to go and try to grab the Center for Black Culture, that's an overreach. And what happened was, as I understand, funding was being cut from the Center for Black Culture. So once DEI was established, the Center for Black Culture formed a partnership or formed an alliance with DEI to get resources from that department, because from what I understand, DEI took resources away from the Center for Black Culture. Okay. So I've never really been a fan of DEI. Okay. I'm a fan of the Center for Black Culture and Research.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really can't stress this enough that I appreciate you taking reach out to us and for talking to me, because I've been in touch with the university a lot on this issue, and I've never seen them behave this way with any news coming out of the university. It's very strange. They're not letting me talk to the people from the Center of Black Culture. They're not letting me talk to the people from the LGBTQ Center. Today, this afternoon, I'm speaking with the individual charged with merging these programs and making this new umbrella terminology for all student life. And I really want to talk to you to find out your opinions on everything before I met with him, because your insights are very valuable and very understandable, even, I guess. And I really wanted to ask you on that front, if you were sitting in that room with these WVU officials, what would you say to them directly to kind of change their minds, if you could?
I would have to go back and point to the legacy of inequalities report. It serves notice that there are ingrained race-based disparities, and in theory, at least, the Center for Black Culture is there, and research is there to address that. And take it away says that we're going to leave all that, we're going to ignore that, we're going to leave all that left unaddressed. We're not going to deal with that. We're going to try to what we're going to do is we're going to create an atmosphere that ignores that, and that's what I see going on. Because you actually, with the new Center for Community Engagement, you get rid of the word black, and see, getting rid of the word black culture gets rid of black culture in general. And the states, from what I understand, the state's black population, I'm not sure if I think it's decreasing. I think people are leaving the state. WVU, from what I understand, is having difficulty with retaining the black athlete. They come to WVU and spend a little bit of time there and they're out. This is anecdotal information, but I would go so far as to say, there was hopes that Pac-Man Jones, who now has the sons of Chris Henry, it was hopes that he would send his sons to WVU. But from what I understand, Pac-Man, having been at WVU, he chose to send Chris Henry's sons to Ohio State. Now, why would he do that after having been a WVU alumni and played at WVU? Because he knows what's here. There's nothing here for him. There's nothing here that would support a well-developed black male or black female athlete in terms of on-campus activity, in terms of their wellness in their black identity. There's really nothing there for them. And I think he felt that was important, that they be healthy in terms of their black identity and black self-esteem. And I didn't think you're not going to get that at WVU in its current state. Now I got to say some good stuff about WVU. I think I got to say some good stuff about them, because over the years, I've seen WVU has grown. I've been here 20 years, and I've seen WVU make efforts. I seen WVU contribute money for step dances, house parties. I seen in 2020, during the year of the George Floyd protests, WVU did a Juneteenth there at the Mountain Lair. Okay? So the demand must come from within, the students and the faculty. Okay? Now, I've been affiliated with WVU for the last 20 years. Thank Todd McFadden for bringing me in. I used to videotape. I met the founder of Kwanzaa, Malana Karenga, at WVU. I met well-known black psychologist, Naeem Akbar, at WVU. WVU stopped bringing in people like that through the Center for Black Culture. It got defunded. So we're looking to be able to press to be able to get what we're supposed to have. As I told you before, really, WVU, West Virginia, should be setting up an African American or Black History and Culture Museum. And the artifacts that WVU has from the Center for Black Culture, they shouldn't go out of the city of Morgantown. A friend of mine recently advised me that those artifacts should stay right here in Morgantown. Don't send them out of the town.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. The Morgantown History Museum is fantastic about stuff like that. They have a lot of Black history displays constantly, and it is interesting to not see you put forth the same effort. But yeah, the last big question I feel like I should ask you, is, in the long term, in 5, 10 years down the line, if they do get rid of the Center for Black Culture, what do you think that will look like for students? And like I said, the long term, the trickle down of this event happening.
That's a good point. I kind of foresee good and bad. The environment at WVU, again, it's a predominantly white environment, and so I kind of see the Black student at WVU having to go to Pittsburgh, seeking something to reinforce their Blackness, their Black identity. Black identity, I don't know, it got attacked. When I say it got attacked with various reports in the late, around 2016, between 2016 and 2020, there was reports that were filed dealing with Black identity. And I think the colleges, they started pulling back. But Black identity is necessary. I'm talking about a positive Black identity. Because there's a lot of anti-Black propaganda that is put out by anti-Black groups. I'm just going to keep it clear. So the Center for Black Culture helps us view Blackness in a positive light. We have our heroes, and we can look at them in a positive light. So you asked me about what could be 5 years from now, 10 years from now without the Center for Black Culture. I would have some sense to think that the Black population at WVU, they wouldn't have nothing to rely upon. Now they still have the Black Law School, the Black Law School and the Black Alumni. WVU that still has both of those agencies, those groups. So you're gonna have to go back and do what was done all over again. Okay, the work that people put in, the activism work that people put in to set up the Center for Black Culture, if you take it, it forces the population, the student population, to go back and do what it did before all over again in order to be able to have a safe space. Because I don't think and I haven't been to the new Center for Community Engagement. There's a part of me that kind of wants to boycott it a little bit, to not go up in there. It's not to say that I won't go up in there, but if I go up in there, I want to be able to state firmly on the record that you've done a disservice if you're talking about getting rid of the Center for Black Culture and Research. That's a disservice to us.
Absolutely, definitely. Yeah, you're giving me a lot of really great insights. So, like I said, I really appreciate you taking some time to talk to me.
I spoke with I don't cut you off. I spoke with Delegate Anitra Hamilton in reference to this. Now, I've been keeping her posted on this.
And how did that go?
Well, she's out of town right now, and but she is not with this merger. She's told me directly, and she is disappointed that WVU has not responded. Okay, yeah, because they haven't responded. Just didn't say anything, from what I understand.
Yeah, they've been shockingly quiet about all this, and whenever I reached out to them initially, they just gave me kind of a copy and pasted, informationless, official sounding response. So that's why I kind of had to press forward, and like I said, I'm glad you spoke to me,
Won't let you talk to nobody. They wouldn't let you talk to nobody at the Center for Black Culture.
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.
What about anybody connected with the former DEI? Because that was David Freisen and Misha Poor.
No, sir. They have basically anyone involved in this merger has been under specific guidelines to forward any contact with media representatives directly to the communications, which then puts me in with Gary Furby, who is overseeing the new student life culture conglomerate, essentially. So I'm trying to diversify my sources a little bit. So you are a fantastic person to talk to. I appreciate this so much.
I'm gonna give you again my title right. I've been the national chairman of WV Black Unity Coalition since 2007. Our chief of staff is Luana Logan. Okay, now I brought her on in 2011, and Black Unity Coalition started in Charleston during the hate crimes campaign, Megan Williams hate crimes campaign. Okay, so it starts there. But I brought it up here in 2011, and in 2011 we did the International Day of Action and Unity in Morgantown with Luana Logan assistant as the chief of staff. Later on, Luana Logan, she ends up being the founder of the Upper Monongahela Juneteenth celebration. She was largely an organizer that helped us pull off our events. She has left and went out to Louisiana. I think she'll be coming back to this area maybe in May or June. But we're scheduled to do a Juneteenth in downtown Morgantown in front of the courthouse. And we're charged with organizing that. But it makes it even more important now, given the fact that we're in jeopardy of losing the Center for Black Culture. I'm getting older. I'm 62, 63 years old. Okay. My goal is to set up institutions where younger people can come on board and keep them going. As I told you earlier, Todd McFadden told me 20 years ago, if WVU gets rid of the Center for Black Culture, John, you take it and keep it going. So I'm committed to keeping the original intent of the Center for Black Culture, which is to preserve Black culture and to research Black history, the facts on Black history, gather the facts on Black history, and lobby the WVU and the local corporate infrastructure here in Morgantown and throughout the state in the best interest of the Black population, which I understand is their demographics are about 65 to 70,000, according to Professor Phil Carter of Marshall University. I'm in contact with the Black professionals. I got their numbers. I try to be in contact with them. If something comes up, I want to be able to have proper information to be able to address it. Because I'm an outsider to a great extent. But because I live here in this town, I have a right to make a legitimate objection to that. I got work from WVU as a security guard during the step shows and dances that they had. All of that has been cut back on drastically. They haven't done a step show in I don't know how long. WVU's Black population, their Black student population has diminished significantly, especially after COVID. Okay, especially after COVID. So.
Absolutely. And in the future, if you guys, your Juneteenth celebration, any events that you guys put together, if you ever need any media coverage, anything like that, feel free to keep me in mind. I'd love to work with you guys in the future.
Okay, that's Chase, right? Chase.
Yes, sir.
Chase, what's your last name?
My last name's Hugert. Hughart. Sorry, it's a weird one.
Don't worry about it. I'll stay in touch with you because we are scheduled to go back at the Monongahela County Commission. We had went to them, and so we do have the space. We're scheduled for Saturday, June 6th, 2026, to be downtown in front of the courthouse. we have that, we have reserved that space for the Juneteenth at that time. So,
That sounds great. Excellent. Well, that's all the questions I have prepared for you. Is there anything else you want to tag on here at the end that you think I didn't cover? Just want to shout off the rooftops while I got you here.
well, I think the WVU students probably need to voice their objection publicly to the closing of the Center for Black Culture. Those that don't want it closed need to put on the record. Send the new center, email them, get their email address, email them continuously, let them know. Don't just sit back and don't say anything. At least put your objection on the record. It could make a difference at WVU because of the inequality report. That serves notice for the need for a Center for Black Cultural Research. Okay? Yeah. If everything was all good, okay, you didn't have these wealth disparities, these health disparities, these if it was all good, then you might have an argument to say, well, we don't need it because everything is all good. Okay, there's no wealth disparities. The disparities are cleaned up. We don't need that no more. But that is not the case. That is not the case. And with Morrissey being the former Attorney General, okay, it's even more egregious in my mind as a former Attorney General.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for, like I said, I can't thank you enough for taking some time to talk to me. And if I have any further inquiries or questions, I'll be sure to reach out to you. Same goes to me. If you have anything else you'd like to tag on before I publish this, feel free to reach out. I'd love to hear from you guys. But thank you so much for taking time to talk to me and for helping me round out this article again. It's very appreciated.
When do you expect to put forth your article? Possibly.
I'm hoping to have it in our weekend edition this weekend if I can finish everything in time. And then we have a digital publication and a magazine publication coming out next week that I'm hoping to also make the deadline for.
And what newspaper are you representing?
I represent the Expo and Telegram out of Clarksburg, Morgantown News on digital, and the State Journal magazine out of Morgantown, West Virginia.
Okay, that's good. If you need to get in contact with me, you can, and I will be looking forward to seeing what WVU has to say in reference to this. Okay, so
absolutely. If I learn anything dramatic, I'll be sure to let you know.
Okay, did they make a? Let me ask you this before I leave. Did they put forth a press release on the merger? I seen an article online. I didn't think that was necessarily a press release, but I did see an article.
They put forward a statement, and I can even give you the highlights of that statement because it was very lacking of valuable information. West Virginia Division of Student Life has implemented organizational changes designed to better align its resources and terms with the evolving needs of students. Was basically the summarizing of what they said. These changes aim to foster greater collaboration and more efficiently support student engagement, well-being, and success.
Okay.
That's what I got from them.
That was a statement put out by a good lawyer, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're not being very subtle about it, I guess. Or I guess too subtle is a better word, but that's what we got.
Okay. Hey man, I think we can end here. Thanks for your time. All right. And
thank you for your time.
Now you said you gotta talk to them, you gotta meet with them set up soon.
Yes, sir, at 3:00 today.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be waiting to I wanna hear what they gotta say. I think Delegate Hamilton also, we're both waiting to see what WVU has to say. Okay? So
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I will see what I can do.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good one. We'll be in touch.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.